one of the things I felt like where MMOs have struggled is that they've gone and created WoW, the WoW clone, right? Where, World of Warcraft is number one. People are like, let's do that. And then literally, okay, nobody's going to make that shift because they have that sunk cost. They've already invested, their communities there. It's very difficult for moving one community to the next. It's actually quite interesting to see where World of Warcraft is right now. And I think essentially what we've seen with like lots of people leaving the game after, like people have told me 13, 14, 15 years, that this is where their friends are, this is where their community is, and how it felt like a divorce. But I've seen kind of like two camps, just from my perspective and the content that I create. A, camp A, hey, I'm going to go play Final Fantasy XIV. Oh my gosh, this is such a great game. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is where I'm going to play. And then B, those are just like, I'm waiting for New World. And that's kind of the camp where I feel like there is some crossover, but like I haven't seen a lot of people within the 14 community that's like, oh, I'm really excited about New World because like New World offers something different. And I think that's a really great point you both bring up. If it was just the same thing that they were already playing, why even make the jump? Like, hey, because there's not just a financial cost, there's a time investment cost, there's trying to get your community to move over cost. Like, there's all these extra kind of hurdles. I think for me, and I want to kind of highlight Creature's comments a little bit off topic, but I think it's interesting for I'd be curious to y'all's thoughts. But I think for me, it's New World is going to need to deliver content updates. I don't know at what clip, at what pace, but we've seen in the alpha, which is much easier to do those kind of updates every month, like big update after big update after big update. But when the game is after release, like they need to continue to have some set pace that gamers can rely on. Because what I see happening is that New World's going to come out, it's launching, people are hungry for a new MMORPG. They're hungry for it. It's going to take top bill because there's nothing really launching right around that same time. Then when the theoretical 9.2 comes out for WoW, Endwalker comes out, I don't know the date of End of Dragons, like people are going to go back to their safety zone, their comfort zone, what they consider their MMO home. And what New World needs to do is continue to invite people back in, not being worried about that initial dip because hype is going to bring people in and then people are going to kind of settle into their habits. But if New World can keep delivering content and then following that up with an expansion, I'd be kind of curious. How soon would you guys want to see an expansion after release? Are we talking ESO's model 1 year? Are we talking WoW and 14's model every 2 years? What do you think? Red.
I mean, obviously, the sooner the better. I think really, they're gonna probably stick with the pay to play model, and then they're gonna want to release, I think a good expansion potentially every year to keep getting that, $30-$40, I guess, whatever the price of the expansion would be, because it's kind of weird because we're not paying full box price for New World. We're technically paying $40, which is
Yeah.
quite a bit cheaper. So who knows what the expansions will actually be. But I think to your point before, and one of the things they've kind of stated is they want to continue to put out content, free content
Mm-hmm.
every month or two. And I think that can really go a long ways as far as keeping people active in game. Because the minute that you do start to feel like I've ran out of things to do, if you can introduce new content to the game, it's more likely that those people will be like, oh, okay, well, I'll just wait a couple weeks, or I'll wait
Mm-hmm.
a week and try out the new stuff. As opposed to, I think like where World of Warcraft is right now. I mean, people have been waiting for content for like, 6 months. And the thing, like you said, all of them are like jumping ship to try out another, other games like Final Fantasy 14. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14 seriously for like the first time ever. That's some of those people are going to come back to WoW, obviously, but some of them probably in New World and other games are going to find a new home because they're
Yeah.
kind of sick of the lulls that Blizzard is kind of known for, the lack of communication content
Yeah.
that they have.
What about you, Danny? Every 1 year or every 2 year, what would be your ideal setup?
It's a difficult one, really. We talk we've been talking a lot about what we want to see expansion wise. We've got this whole pirate vibe going on, and you see pirate ships in the trailers,
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Yeah.
all these cool ideas of what people want to see for expansions. But I guess they have this kind of downtime on release to potentially relax for a couple of months while people push through the content that they've got. But I think for me, it would just be kind of watching the community, and when a lot of the current players start to reach that end game and sort of start to get to that point where they're all the content's being, finished, and they've sort of gone for everything, is I think that they've set up a really good model where they could introduce maybe one or two new expeditions here or there, and just drop feed a little bit of content throughout the year, and then sort of like Red said, maybe once a year, like a big drop, a massive expansion with just some really cool new features and elements to the game. But I would like to see them constantly drop some content as time goes by. But yeah, probably every year, something like that would work very
Yeah,
well.
the once a year model I think works real well as always a re-invitation from a marketing perspective, from inviting people back, and that will get us kind of into a discussion a little bit about theme park and sandbox, because there's different people do it differently, and you read Plan 14, you'll see that their theme park is, you have to complete theme park A to get to theme park B, where ESO is like, okay, you can just go right into B or right into C. And there's strengths and weaknesses to, those decisions. But as an aside, like Creature did say, talking about how Elden Ring is coming out before the next Elder Scrolls, and that seems to be further off. Do y'all see that as a potential invitation for people who like those kind of games coming in and checking out this MMO, especially with Elden Ring? You talking about Souls-like? Imagine finishing that game, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, this game's been out for 6 months, and hopefully people are really enjoying it. What are your thoughts, Red?
I mean, yeah, I really like we said before about the setting of the game, the gothic, like 17th century Dark Souls type of feel. There's a massive player base in those Dark Souls games, and I think this game definitely would interest them. I would think, especially like there's no sub, just $40
Right.
commitment.
Exactly.
I mean, I think they're going to pull a lot more people in. For some reason, people, and I'm more of a sub person. Like, I don't mind paying the $15 a month as long as, like, all the content is relatively,
Good. Yeah.
free and accessible and good to me. Yeah, but I think the $40 will help draw those players that are used to playing like those single player RPGs into New World to at least try it, for sure. But to your point on the ESO thing, real quick, I've kind of said this a lot. I think one Tamriel, which was the update to ESO that allowed players to, like, the world to scale off of each player's level simultaneously, so you can play, like, you can start a friend in the game at level 1 and
Hmm.
immediately group with them and play with them and try out the new content, the new expansion. Like, that's one of the best features in any MMO right now, because that's the main problem, I think, with MMOs, is trying to pull in new people
Hmm.
that want to play with their friends and try the new stuff. I think that is perfect, the perfect way to do so, which is to have that like dynamic scaling. So hopefully New World can venture in that general direction as they put out new content and stuff.
That's actually something that I'm very curious about, because I know that there's a lot of drama, and we'll talk about the cash shop here in a little bit, but a lot of drama about how they're thinking about having boosts later, in the game's life, and a lot of people didn't seem like that. I'm a sub guy. Like, I wish the sub
Mhm.
model won out, but when you just, again, you got to look at the market as a whole. Your sub is also like your Game Pass sub. Your set, like, there's a sub saturation that's only
Right.
possible for and that gets harder and harder. But beyond that, you have like Halo multiplayers going free to play. Like, the games have shifted more to that open accessibility market, and that's why it's like you got to, like, the lifeblood of the MMO is also bringing in new players. If you're not bringing in new players, you got to look at why. And if that, I hope that we'll see some kind of level syncing system, because there's nothing better, in my opinion, than playing with your friends. And if you can't play with your friends because, oh, well, I'm going to kill your XP or whatever, like, it ends up being just like this extra wall, this hurdle that people won't allow us to get into. Now, thank you so much for checking out this highlight from Epic Loot Radio. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, and more. And check out our other channels, Ginger Gaming Radio, Ginger Prime, and Work to Game, for more content. Thanks for being here, and you're awesome.